Bad Boys for Life sees the return of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence to the big screen. This is the third installment of a popular franchise, Bad Boys. The first installment was released 25 years ago. Wow. And the second installment approximately 17 years ago in 2003. So quite a bit of a gap between such a popular franchise. Will Smith explained in an interview with Sway in the Morning that the gaps had a lot to do with them really wanting to ensure that they got the story right. He wanted to make sure there was a strong message, particularly for current times, because there really was quite a gap between the installments. The first two Bad Boys were directed by Michael Bay. They went in a different direction, literally, for Bad Boys for Life with two new directors from Belgium, Bilal Fallah and Adil El Arbi. Hope I didn't mess their names up. And of course, Will Smith is one of the producers of the film. The reported budget of the film was approximately $90 million. They've already made $100 million, so they've already made their money back. So a big congrats to the producers of Bad Boys for Life. Another quick little fun trivia note is that some of the film was actually shot at Tyler Perry Studios. Tyler Perry, as many of you probably have read, just opened up his newest studio, which is about 330 acres, I believe, in Atlanta. It's actually his second big studio. He had another studio that was about 60 acres, and he had a big opening for that studio as well. But this is his biggest studio and probably going to be his last one. And he's, of course, really proud of it. So it's pretty cool that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence were able to film there with Bad Boys for Life. The synopsis of the film involves old school cops Mike Lowrey, played by Will Smith, and Marcus Burnett, played by Martin Lawrence, teaming up to take down the vicious leader of a drug cartel. In terms of direction, I really liked the pace of the film and the look of the film, but there were times that I did feel like it looked like a music video from the Double O's, like one of those big pimpin' type videos. And, some of the transitions between the scenes kind of reminded me of that era. But overall, I really enjoyed the scenes and the look of the film. I appreciated how they really showcased the beauty of Miami and also Mexico. So they did some good traveling with this film. I also appreciated the inclusiveness of the film. To me, it truly showed what America is. You had, of course, Black representation with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and their families, and also Asian and Hispanic actors and white actors, etc. So that was a good call from the casting directors and the producers and director, of course, to make this really an inclusive film. And for those of you who like action, this film definitely offers that to you. I also enjoyed how not all of the action or killing scenes were predictable. There's definitely some shocking moments in the film that I wasn't expecting. Some of the shots were a bit more bloody than I expected, but I'm also kind of sensitive to blood. So some of you actually may enjoy that, but for me, I did have to kind of look away a few times. So, there is some gruesome scenes in the film. So for those of you who love that, this film also has that. In terms of story, I felt that the story was strong, as again, that was the goal from Will Smith as to why, they kind of took their time to make this film. There was a lot of heart with the story, and it wasn't too sappy. I felt the story was realistic, and I liked how they incorporated comedy in the story, even during some of the pretty deep and disturbing scenes. And of course, when you have Martin and Will Smith in a film, you pretty much have a master class when it comes to comedy and the timing of that. And the comedy never felt out of place, even again during some of the dramatic kind of disturbing scenes. And I like some of the universal messages of the film as well. Of course, it hit heavy on aging and how one deals with that. Because again, this franchise started 25 years ago. For all my 80s babies and 90s babies, yeah, that was 1995 was 25 years ago. When, of course, both Martin and Will were probably in their 20s. So we can't ignore that they are both now in their 50s. So, of course, perspectives and life goals change as you get older. I mean, that's just the reality. I felt the film did a good job about how one deals with that. And, everybody can relate to that. And Will's character kind of wanted to maintain his youthful spirit. And if you are familiar with the franchise, you know, that's to be expected. You know, he's kind of the playboy between the two. And, you know, so he really doesn't want to retire, hence the bad boys for life. Whereas the Martin character was more conservative and seemed to be more embracing of his next phase in life and, you know, becoming a grandfather and, you know, wanting to settle down and chill with his wife a little bit more. And there was a lot of symbolism in the film with this message. One particular scene seemed to show literally the two characters trying to outrun that inevitable, which is, again, aging. But one thing hasn't changed with time, and that is the chemistry between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. There is a scene in the film where the chemistry is shown quite significantly, where friendships are tested and life itself is even tested. Martin did a great job, to me, stepping away from what we're used to him doing, which is, again, the comedy, and he really showed his dramatic side really well, I felt, during some of these scenes, so you'll enjoy that. In terms of villains, some of you may know, like when you look at certain action films, sometimes the villains can kind of be one-dimensional. I felt with this film, the villains were actually quite complex, which I enjoyed. You know, they weren't hokey at all. They actually came with some deep complexity. Their motivations were deeper than just, hey, we want more money or let's get our drugs back or whatever. So that really worked well for me and stood out. The soundtrack of the film was good as well. I believe DJ Khaled had a lot to do with that, which is good. You know, he's a Miami guy. To me, they did a good mixture of old school music and new school music, which, again, to me, works with the theme of the film, of old versus new or new versus old, and having to deal with that or accept that. And really how the two can merge. You know, you can be older and still have your youthful spirit, or even be younger and kind of have an old soul. So I thought they did a good job with that. As for wardrobe, of course, Will Smith stood out. His character is, again, the playboy of the two, and they really made his wardrobe fresh. You know, no pun, Fresh Prince, but he definitely looked good in the film. Great choices in terms of wardrobes for Will. You know, everyone else was pretty standard, but, you know, his wardrobe definitely stood out. Another good theme I liked about the film was the idea of self-examination. And I have a feeling that Will probably had a lot to do with that, because if you follow Will Smith on Instagram or even on YouTube, you know, he talks a lot about examining oneself. You know, he really could be a motivational speaker. And this film really deals with that. And one quote that really stood out to me was, "Fear can cause you to go into chaos, especially if you don't know oneself." You know, as the hit song from Diana Ross, "Do you know where you're going to?" You know, you got to know, or you lose yourself. So that was a strong theme in the film. And I appreciated that, because I'm someone, you know, I'm into philosophy and all those different things. So even though this is an action film and you're there to really just have fun and enjoy the entertainment of the film, it was good that they were still able to incorporate some of those deep messages and deep themes into the film. My biggest critique of the film, however, is that I did feel it was a bit too long. I believe it's a little over 2 hours, and, you know, to me, they could have probably cut about 15 minutes. But overall, I really enjoyed this film. I felt they did a great job pushing this franchise forward, and it looks like we're going to get that fourth installment, and hey, why not? I mean, Fast and Furious has about, what, 9? So Bad Boys for Life, hey, go ahead and push for 9 if you need to. But yeah, definitely a fourth installment I could see working, and you'll see what happens in the end and how that's likely possible. Hopefully we don't have to wait 17 years though. But I doubt that, because, you know, again, you know, none of us are getting younger. But overall, I give this film a 4 out of 5 stars, and I definitely recommend you go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching my review. Be sure again to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out some of our other content on this channel. In fact, especially Hollywood and Friends, they actually interviewed Carl Payne from The Martin Show, which is, of course, Martin Lawrence's big hit sitcom. And they actually spoke with him about his time with Martin and working with Martin. So definitely check that out. I'll be sure to put it in the description box and also include it on the screen so you can go check it out. And let's continue our conversation. Did you go see Bad Boys for Life? Did you enjoy it? Did you not so much enjoy it? Whatever it is, let's chat about it in the comment section, and I'll be sure to chat with you there. Until next time, peace.